Okay, so Dr. Dabara, you can start now.
Okay. Thank you very much. And apologies to everyone for the delay. I'm gonna be sharing my screen now. Can you all see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we are seeing.
Okay.
Yes, we are with you.
Okay. So basically what we're going to be doing today is using Excel to do our valuation exercises. And just to teach, I might need like 30 minutes to do that, but I don't just want to teach you and leave you hanging, not knowing what to do. So we're going to do hands-on, which will take more time, probably an hour and a half, depending on how fast we are. So I'll appreciate it if you can use your laptop and be as fast as possible as we go through the exercise. Okay, and you're free to ask me a question at any point. So to start with, I've shared the handbook. Can you please share the handbook with the participants? I've dropped a step-by-step procedure on how to go about this, so you can, on your own, you can go about it. Or as we go ahead, you can be looking at the handbook as we do the practical. So Priscilla, can you please share that?
Yes, I'm sharing it right now.
All right. Okay. I'm assuming you have your laptop and you've opened your Excel window. As water. And to do so, if you have an open window like I do here, you may need to go to File, click on File, click on Info, and go to Related People. And here on the Related People, you can click on Add an Author. And you can add your name as an author of the Excel you have. As you can see, I've already added my name as an author for this work. Have we done that? Anyone that have done that can respond.
Yes, sir, I have.
All right, thank you very much.
Can you please run through the procedure once again?
Okay, go to File. Click on File. Click on Info. Go to Related People. Click on Add an Author and write your name. All right, the next thing to do is to create or write some basic data information.
Or participate.
Sorry, I've been muted. Sorry, where did I lose you? At what point did I get muted? Okay, let me go all over again. Have you got how to change the name of your sheets?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, the next thing I want you to do is to create this data on your sheets. And I want you to create it exactly as mine, especially the cell that you're going to use. I started from cell A2. So you can write data on cell A2. It has to correspond with my cell so that when we get to the calculation aspect, you won't be lost or you won't have a different cell reference. So we can be using the same cell references. And in cell A3, you write down Ulrich's yield. Just recreate this data on your system. In cell B3, you can write 7.5%. Now, when writing this, you've got to make it 7.50 and then the percentage. Make sure you put the percentage there, okay? And if you discover that you have more than 2 decimal places, you can come to the number ribbon here. Can you see the number ribbon? Now, this is where to increase or decrease the number of decimals. You can do that here. So I'm going to give you, say, 5 minutes to recreate this data on your Excel. I'll appreciate it if you can be as fast because we have so much to do, but we need to build the foundation first. And if you have any question, please feel free to ask. So if you are done, just let me know so I can move to the next thing. Remember, start writing your data on the cells as mine so that we can flow along as we make progress. Otherwise, when we come to write formulas, if you start on a different cell, it won't tally. Your data should be written on cell A2. Aldrich's yield, cell A3. 7.5%, don't forget to write the percentage. Cell B3. Equated yield, cell A4, and the corresponding yield. For the term yield and the hardcore yield, you can leave that for now. Where you see a yellow coloration, it means you need to create a formula. You need to create a formula to get the value or the data. You don't just impute the data like you did here. Anywhere you see a yellow coloration, you need to impute a formula, and we will do that later. For the number of years to review, you type 3.00. Remember, you can use the decimal point icons on the number ribbon to adjust. And for the currency sign, now, after writing 120,000, you can go to the number ribbon. Here, you can change from general to currency. And under currency, you can choose, come down to this ribbon, currency ribbon or currency icon, and choose whatever currency your country uses. And that will give you the currency sign. So this data is an assumption of a question. You could have a valuation brief, and of course, we know that the first thing to do when you have a valuation brief is to extract the data. So I'm assuming from the question, whatever we want to create the question to be, these are the relevant data. For Aldrich's yield, it is 7.5%. Equated yield is 11%. By the way, I am making two assumptions here. The first assumption is that we all know the basics of valuation. And then the second assumption is, I'm assuming you have a little basic knowledge of Excel. That is very important for us to understand how to apply Excel in valuation. I'm sure you know what Aldrich's yield is, you know what equated yield is, you know what a term yield is, and the hardcore reversion yield, number of years to review, rent review pattern, rent passing, market rent, and growth rate. Is there any question on this ones before we move to the next step? Okay, then. So let's assume we have a brief, a question, and from the question, we are able to extract these data. And these are the data that we'll be using later. By the way, we have the Excel handbook on the chart. If you've not gotten that, please, you can get that and then follow along. If you have recreated this data, can you say yes? So I know. Anyone? Okay, all right. So let me move to the next level. It is very important you create this before we move to the next level, because we're going to keep building. We're going to keep building on this. If you've not gotten this data, it will be difficult for you to follow. Probably I should give you 1 more minute to get this. Okay. So the next step, before I go to the next step, I just want to have an idea of how many people have recreated this. If you have recreated this, can you use the raise hand button to indicate? Just use the raise hand button to indicate so I can see how many people have completed recreating this. Okay. Oh, quite a few. You need more time? Yeah, quite a few. Okay. Well, the good thing is the session is being recorded, so you can access the recording and go over it again. And not only that, the manual that is shared on the chat, it's detailed for you to go through it later on. And you should be able to work with that. Well, I'll still give a minute because this is the foundation. We need this to move forward. Thank you very much. You can put down your hands now. Okay, you can put down your hands now. Thank you. Now, the next step after writing down all this information, and like I said, you can coin your valuation question from this information. We are assuming that these are the basic data required. Okay. Now, the next thing we need to do is for us to impute the values on the yellow colored cells. And like I said, for the yellow colored cells, anywhere you see a yellow color cell in this session, it means you need to use a formula to get the value. And in Excel, whenever you're using a formula, you must use the equal sign. Otherwise, your formula won't work. So you need to use the equal sign. Now, for the term yield, we need to use the equal sign. And we can get our term yield from our old risk yield. Our old risk yield is 7.5. And in valuation, we know that for a term yield, it is the old risk yield minus the old risk yield. This is the old risk yield minus 1%. And that will give us our term yield. Now, for the hardcore yield, we know from valuation that the hardcore yield is the old risk yield plus 1%. So we're going to do that in a bit. But before we do that, I want us to rename our cells so that subsequently it will be easier for us to use the names we change. We're going to use valuation terms, valuation alphabets in those cells. For example, like you can see here, for our old risk yield, in valuation, we know we can use I to represent our risks, right? Our yield. So I want to change the name of this cell. This is cell B3. I want to change it to I so that subsequently, if I am referring to the Ulrich's yield, I'm referring to cell B3. All I need is to impute the letter I. And to do that, you need to come to this place and change the cell from B3 to I. Highlight it, click I, okay, and enter. So this cell now have been changed from cell B3 to I. Subsequently, wherever I type I, I'm referring to 7.5%, which is our Ulrich's yield. And for our equated yield here, we want to use the letter E for equated yield. So click on the cell, go here, and change it from cell B4 to E, and enter. We have changed this now to E. And for the number of years, in valuation, we use N to represent number of years. So you can click on the cell, change it from cell B7 to N. Anywhere I needed the number of years, I'll just input my letter N. And this is our rent passing. Anytime I needed this figure, I will need to put the word rent passing, RP, rent passing, enter. So I do not need to come back to this because I've already renamed the cells. And for our market rent, I'll do the same. I'll name it MR, MR, market rent, enter. And for our growth rate, I'll name it G and enter. When you do that, you have renamed all these cells and you're going to use them subsequently. So subsequently, if I need the Ulrich's yield, I just type I. If I need the growth rate, I just type G. If I need the rent passing, I just type RP. Does that make sense? Are you following? Sorry, I need responses to know you are with me.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, thank you very much. Now that we've renamed our cell,
Yes.
I want us to now use the formula to get our values for our time yield and our hardcore reversion yield. Remember, we have 4 different yields for this valuation. We have the Ulrich's yield, the equated yield, the term yield. And remember from our valuation, the term yield is 1. The term yield is 1 minus Ulrich's yield, 1% of Ulrich's yield. We minus 1% from the Ulrich's yield. So this is going to be is equals to, remember when you are entering formula for Excel, you have to start with an equal sign. Is equal to I, which we've renamed already, minus 1%. And that gives us the value for the term yield. Now, I want 2 decimal places, but I'm having 3 here, so I'm going to adjust it. Come to the number ribbon and reduce it. That is 6.5%. Now, for the hardcore yield, it is I plus 1%. Remember, enter your equal sign, otherwise it's going to work. So equals I, which is my Ulrich's yield, plus 1%. Enter. Yeah, that gave me more than 2 decimal places, so I'll click on it and reduce the number of decimal places. Okay. If you're able to do this, just indicate by raise of hand. Has anyone been able to do all this? Okay, thank you. Now moving to the next stage. After we've now all got all the data we need for our valuation. We have all the yields, we have the number of years, we have the rent passing, the market rent, the growth, we have all that we need. The next thing is to start imputing our valuation figures methods. So I just pick 4 simple ones. We're going to do capitalization, term and reversion, hardcore, and shortcut DCF. Okay. And for direct capitalization, you know that what you need is the market rent. We've got that already. And then YP in perp at the ARY, the ORIX yield. We've got that already. So all we need to do is to put in the figures here to do our direct capitalization calculation. For term and reversion, you know it is a two-stage valuation, the term bit and the reversion bit. And this is the layout. So I'd like for you to recreate the layout on your Excel sheet. And you've got to start exactly on the cell that I started so we can have the same cell reference. So you have to start from number 13. Your direct capitalization should be between 13 and cell A15. Try as much to have all this recreated in exactly the same cells as mine. So we have the same cell reference, and later on when we begin to do the calculation, we'll be able to have the same thing. If you do this on a different cell references, then you won't be able to follow me properly. We'll have a little hitches. That's why I'm insisting that for this training, write all this on the same cell as mine. And all the cells in yellow, like I mentioned earlier, it means we are not going to impute data, but we're going to use formula to generate the data. Okay, so I'm going to use, say, like 5-6 minutes to recreate this on your Excel sheet. So while you are recreating it, we can use this opportunity to answer questions we've done so far. So if you have a question, you can please go ahead and ask your question. Does anyone have questions?
Maybe I'll ask one question for people who are not talking, maybe to kickstart. So to kickstart probably a discussion. Maybe a quick one. What is the all risk yield? So that people who might not have a evaluation background or might not have understood the basics well would probably get a hang on it.
Okay. Now, when investors invest in the market, they are looking for profit. You can call it yield, you can call it return. We have different types. There are certain investments that have a general market return. That is what is referred to as the all risk yield. The return that every buyer or every investor will be willing to obtain, because generally in the market, for that particular property type or that particular investment, that is what you get. That is risk yield or return. Then the equated yield. There are certain investments that before an investor invests in these investments, he would have a certain predetermined level of return. I have £1 million. I want to invest in real estate, and I could decide if this investment is not going to give me 10% return, I am not going to go into this investment. So the equated yield is, or you can call it targeted rate of return, is the desired return from an investor. Now we have the term yield. In valuation, we have term, we have reversion. Term for a particular period of time. Okay, perpetuity, forever and ever. So the term yield is the yield we use for the valuation that has certain number of years or duration. Okay.
Yes, I think that's great. I think I'll leave the floor for others to make a good conversation as well.
And also, it's not just for me to give the answer. This is
Sure.
an open workshop. Everyone can give an answer. Okay, you can add to what I say, or if you have an idea of what the other person is asking a question, you can give the answer as well. It's open to everyone. Okay.
Okay, great. So
Yeah.
please, let's make this informative so that we speak. Let's not only mute ourselves and not do anything. Okay. I'll pause for a while.
Okay. So if you have recreated this, can you please indicate by show of hand? Anyone? Okay, it seems you need more time. So let's say 2 minutes more. So here, probably in your case, it might show all the lines. But I took out the lines, which you can easily do anytime, okay? Theodora, you wanna say something? Please, importantly, remember that you've got to put all this in the same cells as mine, so that when we're doing the calculation later on, it will tally, okay? If you're doing it on your own some other time, it is not compulsory that it must be as mine, but because of this session, and I want us to be on the same page at all time, that's why I need you to put all this in the same cells as mine. Okay, I think I'm gonna move to the next thing to do while building our valuation template.
So, Dabara, just a quick one. I think someone is asking if you could zoom in on the screen a little bit. I'm guessing the person is using a mobile phone. So,
okay.
yeah.
Making it bigger.
Yeah, we'll not show all the cells as well. I know.
Yeah, will mean we won't be able to see some of them.
Maybe you could just do it for a few seconds and then you take it back.
Okay, so let me just, oh, this is too much. Is this okay?
Mina,
Yes.
it's okay.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yeah, it's okay.
All right.
Thank you.
So let me still give some few minutes. Can I scroll down a bit to capture the goods? Okay, then. I'm going to move to the next stage now. Assuming you've created all the layouts for capitalization, term and reversion, hardcore, and shortcut DCF. Now, the next thing we need to do is to do custom titles. Now, custom titles help you to put text and number of years and this yield. YP in perp at this yield. So these are the things we want to do now. That is having custom formats for our cells. Now, if you look at this place, okay, if you look at this place, I've got for you how to custom title each of the required cells. Okay. So we're gonna pick each of this one after the other, and then we're gonna use them to custom title our. Okay, so let's start with the first one. The first one, A, we're gonna put the custom title YP in perp at certain number for cell B14, B23, and B34. To custom cell or to custom title, you go to the very cell you want the custom title. In this case, cell B14. And make sure that you are at the home on, you are at home. Click on the cell, then go to cell format. Can you see that here? Click on cell format. Scroll down to format cell. Click on it. Click on custom. And this appears because I've done this already, but I'm gonna go back to general. So this is what you should see on yours. Click on the general and write. What are we writing? YP in perp at this number. And please, it's got to be exactly the way it is here. Otherwise, you won't have the required result. So for this, I'm going to say quotation mark YP space in space perp full stop space at close the quotation mark space the hashtag button, which will pick the number, full stop 00 space, and then open quotation years space at close quotation. and then you click OK. Now, once you do that here, you will observe that nothing appears here, right? That's fine. Okay. Now you can do the same thing for others. YP input at #00. Sorry, I forgot something, the percentage. I didn't put the percentage, so that will be a problem. So I'm going to cancel this and redo it. So go to format cell, custom, and YP input 00. Sorry. YP input at this percentage. Sorry, I made a mistake. Sorry about that. This is percentage, right? YP input at #00%, and then OK. All right, that should do that. Like I said, you can see nothing appear here, but it is in the background. It's there. We can do the same thing for cell B25, B35. If I go to cell B25 now, cell B25, format cells. Now, because I've done this already, it's going to be there. So all I need is to scroll down and pick it and say, okay. I can do same for B35. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right. Now, when you've done B14, B25, and B35, B, we need to do YP of a reversion in certain number of years it is the same procedure. And we need to do that for cell B21 and cell B28. So let me do that for B21. Cell B21, click on the cell, go to format cells, custom, and this appears here because I've done it already, but this is what you will see in yours, general. So you need to click on this, delete this, and write what you want. What we want is open quotation, YP space of space A space reversion space in close quotation space the hashtag button full stop 00 space open quotation years space art close quotation. Yep, and we've got it. So we say okay. Just like before, it shows nothing, but it is on the background. And just like we did with the other one, you can go to cell B28 and pick that one as well. Okay. So we do the same thing for C. And we do that for cell B18 and B32. The same thing for D, B36. The same principle. Do you have any question before we progress to the next stage? And by the way, we have a step-by-step approach on how to do this, which is on the chart. You can download it and then go through it step by step. Any questions? So I will allow you to do the others. Okay. So assuming with all custom title, our cells. It's not showing, but it's in the background, okay? Now to make it show, to have the titles revealed, we need to follow step number 4. To start with, in A, in cell B14, this is cell B14. Remember, we custom title and it didn't show. To make it show now, we have to type is equals I. Enter, and it shows. For cell B25, we do the same thing. Is equals I. Enter, and it shows. B35, we do the same thing. B35, it's equal I. Enter, and it's revealed. We're done with A. Now for B, in cell B21 and 28, all we need to do is to enter, because we're looking for the number of years, enter is equal N. So let me go to cell B21. B21, it's equal N, enter, and it reveals it. Okay. Could someone resend the step-by-step guide that Doc mentioned? Please, Priscilla, can you resend the document, please? Okay, so we're done with B. For C now, we're gonna do cell B18 and B32. We're gonna enter is equal N. B18, it's equal N. Enter. B32, it's equal N. Enter. Yep, we're done with C. And then D, cell B36, we enter is equals N. It's equals N, and enter. So we have revealed all our custom titles. Can you hear me, please? Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. So that is how to
Yes.
custom title. And the custom title is to bring up the numbers that we need. Okay. Any question on that? All right. After custom title, we need to get the yields, because, for example, in this direct capitalization, we say YP in perp. Okay, this doesn't need that. For the term and reversion, it says YP for 3 years at, we need certain yield. That would be the next thing to do to get the yields. So let's get the yields, which is in line C or column C. For the first one, okay. For the first one, C18. C18. This one. This yield is for term. And term yield, we've named it I before, right? Which is the same as cell B5. Is either you enter is equals cell B5, or is equal I, because we've already got that prior now. For cell C21, the yield for the reversion bit is in cell B3. If you go to cell B3, this is cell B3. This is the yield that is used. So cell B3, it's equal cell B3, enter. Nope, this should not be right. Doesn't look right. Cell B5, cell B3, okay. Oh, the same, yeah. Sorry, something is amiss here. I'm deleting this. For cell C18, this is C18, we enter is equals B5, enter. Yep, because it's a term yield, so we have to minus 1%. Yeah, this makes sense now. Then for cell C21, it's equal B3, which is the reversion bit or the Oryx yield. Then for cell C28, we enter is equals B6. And for cell C32, it's equal B4. Same with cell B36. It's equal B4. So now we've entered all our custom titles with the required or requisite yields for each of them. Okay. Any questions? All right. Now we're getting to the interesting part, which is the valuation bits. Okay. So we've done the layout. We've got all our titles. We've got all our yields. Now we want to do our valuation. Before I do that, I want to remind you of some things. You know, in the valuation, we're going to be using the valuation table. And for direct capitalization, term and reversion, hardcore and shortcut DCF, the tables that we'll be using are number one, YP in perpetuity. And remember that YP in perp is 1 all over I. But if you're using it for Excel, this is the formula you enter. Is equal 1 divided by I. Now we'll be using YP for a term. And if you remember your formulas, YP for a term is 1 minus PV all over I. If you're entering that same formula in Excel, this is what you enter. It's the same as this. And then we're going to be using YP over reversion to perpetuity. And YP over reversion to perpetuity is 1 all over IA. If you're entering it in Excel, this is the formula you'll be using, which is same as 1 all over IA. And then we'll be using present value. Present value is 1 all over A. If you're using present value in Excel, okay, if you're using the present value in Excel, this is the formula that you will be using. Okay. This is the formula that you will be using, which represents present value. And for the shortcut DCF, we're going to be using market rent with growth, because we will use both the market rent and the rent passing to get the difference, the growth. This is the formula you will need to use in Excel. So we will be using these formulas in their appropriate places. Okay. So before we start, any questions? Are you following?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
All right. Now,
Yes, we are
remember,
following.
okay,
Yes,
thank you
sir.
very much. Thank you. Remember, in your valuation, all you need to do is you multiply where you need to, you add where you need to, and you do the YP, you get the multiplier using your YP. And that is exactly what we're going to be doing now. Let's start with the direct capitalization method. Now, what is our rent? Our market rent, ERV, from our data. We have our data here. This is our market rent, right? So we need to impute our market rent here. But remember, we use MR for our market rent. So all I need to do here is to say, this is equal my market rent. Enter, and it brings the value. That is why when you're building the valuation template, you've got to follow consistently. And that's why I said you have to use the cell references I was using so we can be on the same page. Now, what is YP in perp at 7.5%? Remember, the formula for YP in perp is 1 all over I, right? So let's do that. It's equal 1 divided by I. Enter, and it does the calculation for us. And to get our capital value, we need to multiply our rent by our multiplier. We need to multiply our rent by our multiplier. Remember, in Excel, you have to start with an equal sign. So we're going to multiply cell D13 plus, sorry, not, yeah, multiply by cell D14. Enter, and it gives you your value. Okay, any question on direct capitalization? So if you work out this by hand, you're gonna arrive at the same answer. But Excel make life easy. Once you have this template for all questions on capitalization, all you need to do is to come and enter your values and it gives you the answer. For example, you have a new question that says your market rent is, say, can somebody give me a figure? Just give me any figure. Anyone? Okay, let's say 200,000. It changes everything for you. If you have maybe the yield changes, say is equals 1, and your yield now is whatever your yield is. Let's say 4%. It changes everything for you. So once you have the template, you can always reuse it with no problems. That's why Excel is much easier to use. Okay. So that's that on direct capitalization. Now let's work out term and reversion. As you know, term and reversion is a two-stage valuation. You have the term bit and then you have the reversion bit. Let's start with the term bit. What is our rent passing? Remember, we've already named our rent. as R. So it's equal R. Enter. Sorry, it's RP, I remember, RP. It's equal RP, rent passing, and it brings the number. And then we do YP for 3 years at 6.5%. Now, let me take you back to the formula for a term. Do you see where we have CR? CR means cell reference. When you get to this bit, do you see where I'm talking about? Are you following?
Yes, we are following.
Okay, so where you see CR, you need to get the appropriate cell reference. Okay, so let's do YP for 3 years at 6.5%. Remember, you got to start with it's equal to, and we're using this formula, the YP for a term formula. It's equal, close bracket, 1 minus, sorry, open bracket. The other one was open, not close. Open bracket, 1 divide by, open bracket, 1 plus, what is the cell reference here? We're using, our yield is 6.5, okay? So which one is 6.5? Is B5, okay? Then close bracket, raised to the power of N. We've got our N already. Close bracket twice. Divide by, as a reference, B5, and enter. It does the calculation for you. And then to get the value for the term bit, we multiply, say it's equals to, multiply this cell, cell B17, multiply by cell B18, and enter. That is the term bit. Now, for the reversion bit, what is our market rent? Our ERV. It equals market rent. We've already named that prior, so it brings it up for us. Then YP over reversion in 3 years at 7.5%. Now come to the formula for YP over reversion. It is 1 all over IA, but we're going to be using the Excel formula. So let's do that. It's equals, open bracket, 1 divide by, open bracket, I multiply by, I multiply by, open bracket, 1 plus I, close bracket, raised to the power of N, and double, close bracket, then enter, which gives us 10.75. Okay. So we've got to multiply our market rent by our YP for a term. So it equals cell D20 multiply by cell D21. And that gives us the answer. Now, we've done our term bit and our reversion bit. To get our capital value, we need to add our term value and our reversion value. So it's going to be is equal cell E18 plus cell E20, enter, and that gives us our capital value. Okay. Any questions? All right, then. Like I said, once you build in this, if you want to use another question, all you need is to put in the different figures and it will change it to the current answer. So the most important thing, make sure you build your Excel template properly. Once it is properly built, and then you input the correct formula, the YPs, then it makes life easy for you. Now, second to the last valuation method, the hardcore method. First, we have rent passing. It's equal rent passing, enter. Then YP in perp at 7.5%. Remember, our YP in perp is equals 1 divided by I, and our I is 7.5, which is our yield. Enter. And we multiply the two. It equals cell B D24 multiplied by cell D13. Enter. It gives you your value. We've got the reversion, the term, we've got the first bit of the valuation. Now, the uplift, we're going to subtract the market rent from the rent passing. So it's equal market rent minus rent passing. And that gives us the uplift at review. And then YP over reversion, 3 years at 8.5%, using the same formula for YP over reversion, okay? Which is 1 over IA. Let's go for it. It's equals, open bracket, 1 divided by, open bracket, I, multiply by, open bracket, 1 plus I, close bracket, raised to the power of n, double close the bracket and enter. And that gives us our YP for 8.5%. Oh, I think something is amiss here. Yeah, this is not correct. I have made something. Yep, the I. The I should be 8.50, not 7.50, which is what we name as I. So I'm going to go for it again, but this time around, I'll pick the correct yield. So going for it again, it's equals, okay. Yep. It equals, open bracket, 1 divided by, open bracket. Our I here is 8.5. So let me check which cell is 8.5. That is cell B6. Okay. Our I multiply by, open bracket, 1 plus our I. I have to go back to 8.5 again. Okay, close bracket, raised to the power of n, and close the bracket twice. Enter. Yep, this is the correct yield. So we have to multiply. This equals cell D27 by cell D28. And to get our capital value, it's equal, we add the first slide's bit plus the second slide bit of our values and enter. And that gives us our capital value. Okay, is it getting boring? Are you following?
We are following
Yes.
you. It's not boring at all.
All right, thank
We are,
you.
we are enjoying every bit of the presentation.
All
Yes,
right,
we are
thank
enjoying it too. Well done, sir.
you. Good to know. Now, this is the last evaluation we're going to be doing for today, and that is the shortcut DCF. First, we need to get our rent passing. So it's equals rent passing. And that brings it up for us. And then YP for 3 years at 11%. This is YP for a term. So we're going to be using the formula for YP for a term. And remember, when we get to the yield, we'll be using the correct cell reference. Okay, so let's go for it. It's equals, open bracket, 1 minus, open bracket, 1 divide by, open bracket, 1 plus our yield. Our yield here is 11%. So let's go to where the yield is 11%, which is cell B4. Close bracket, raised to the power of n. Close bracket twice, divide by our yield, which is 11. B4 and enter. That gives us our value. So we've got to multiply equals our rent passing multiplied by our multiplier, which gives us the first bit of the shortcut valuation. Okay. So the next thing we need to do is to get the market rent with growth. The initial rent was 120, but it increased by 4.0% from our data. It increased by 4.0%. So we want to get our market rent, which is 160,000, plus the growth. And this is the formula to use, like I showed you earlier, okay? So we're going to impute the formula for growth, which is, it's equal our market rent multiplied by open bracket 1 plus our growth, which is G, close bracket, raised to the power of n, and enter. This gives us our market rent plus growth. Okay, so YP in PERP at 7.5%. 7.5% is our I, right? So it's safe to say is equals 1 divided by I. And then we get the present value. Now, for present value, this is the formula for present value, 1 all over A, okay? So let's use that. But don't forget, when we get to use our I, we should use the correct cell reference. So let's go for it. Is equals, open bracket, 1, divide by 1, sorry, divide by open bracket, 1 plus, our yield is 11. So let's go to the correct cell reference, 11. Okay, which is cell B4. Then close bracket, raised to the power of n. And we enter. Oh, something is wrong. Yeah, what is wrong?
Close brackets.
Okay, I didn't close the bracket, right?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Close bracket. Thank you for that. And enter. Then it's still wrong. Well, let's start all over. Let me take it all over again. It's equals, close bracket, 1 divide by, close bracket, 1 plus the cell reference for our I, which is 11%, right? Close bracket, raised to the power of n, close bracket, and enter. Yep. So to get this, we have to multiply our market rent with growth, our YP in per, and our YP for term. So this is going to be, it's equal cell D34 multiplied by cell D35 multiplied by cell D36, enter. Okay, and to get our capital value, of course, we have to add cell E32 plus cell E36 and enter. And that gives us our capital value. So this is how to go about using Excel to create templates for doing your valuation. Like I said, once you have the correct template, if you have a valuation brief, all you need to do is to change the figures. Once you change the figure, when you change one figure, every other subsequent numbers will change accordingly to conform with the change that you made. So once you have this for direct capitalization, you don't need to do another one. All you need is to impute the values. Once you have this for term and reversion, you don't need to create another one. All you need is to impute the values. So it makes our work very easy. As teachers, as professionals in the field, it makes things very easy for us. So I've been doing all the talking. I'm going to stop here and allow you to talk before we wrap up. If you have any question or you want to add to what I say, or I missed out something that you want to contribute to, the floor is open. So feel free.
Yeah, Prof, we just want to say thank you for this class. It was so well explained and we enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, then over to the moderator.
I'm sorry, Prof.
Okay, go on,
Hello.
please.
Yes.
Sorry, I am not yet a prof, but
no problem.
I say amen to your prophecy, okay?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
You use the pound what do you call it?
The pound currency.
Sign. Yes.
Yeah.
How can we, like, I'm from Nigeria, how can I use Naira sign to do this?
Okay. Now on the home page, on the number ribbon, can you see the number ribbon here?
Yes. Yes.
Now you have to click this and go to currency.
Okay.
Now on the currency, this is the currency symbol. There are some that are here. For my laptop, I have for United Kingdom, I have for United States, and I have Europe.
Yeah.
You can download more from the internet. But if you can't do that, then you probably may just want to use either of this, but in your report, you need to change it to your local currency.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, which means I have to convert it to the value of the pound to an Naira.
Not necessarily. I am using pound because where I am, that is what is being used. You can use Naira. Just put the Naira value. If you're working in Nigeria and you're doing evaluation in Nigeria, you probably will do it in Naira, not in pound and then convert to Naira. No. So just use your local currency or whatever currency it is in the country that you're using your brief for.
Okay.
And like I said, this is just an ITE thing. There are some of the versions that have certain major currencies. If yours doesn't have, I could change this, okay? I can come to the, okay, I picked this number, so let me go back. Let me show you something. Okay, here, this is, I could remove this from the, I could remove this, come to counting currency, well, you could remove it. Let's say 577. I could come here and say Naira. Whatever symbol I can get for Naira, and that stands for it.
Okay. Understand, it's okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Well,
Ayub Naburi, your hands is raised.
Okay. Can I talk, sir?
Yes.
Okay. I want to first of all thank Dr. Daniel Dabara for the wonderful presentation. And after thanking you, the next thing that I want to make is request. I want to humbly request that this Excel, it will be nice if it can be shared on this platform. So that some of us that we are online, we are on the move, while we are listening to this lecture, when we get to our destination, we can place side by side and to serve as a veritable tool for us moving forward. In a nutshell, I want to humbly request that the Excel version of this presentation should be shared to us. Thank you.
It's all right. Thank you very much. I'll be happy to do that. Yeah.
Hello, Dr. Dabara.
Hello.
I just want to make a small input to, I think, the previous question about the person who wanted to use the Naira or a different currency.
Oh, thank you very much.
So when they click on the number tab, maybe you can follow with them. You click,
yeah,
and then you go to currency. It opens another yes. So when you open, I mean on the left side, yes, on the currency, you go to more accounting formats. Where the symbol is, you can actually find your currency there. Every currency is there.
Let's see if we can get Naira.
Naira should be there. Maybe if you start typing N something. What is the official symbol for Naira?
Yeah, I've
Is
seen
the
Naira.
NGN?
And yeah.
Yes, NGN is up there.
Yeah, I've seen it. Oh, that's good.
Yeah, we got it.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
okay,
every
right.
currency in the world is there. So you
Oh, that's
choose
wonderful. I
you
didn't
choose
know that
whichever is
before.
appropriate. And if it's
Naira is
Ghana,
there.
you need to choose GHS, and you would find it there as well. So the same thing when you go to the currency, and then you drop down on the currency menu.
Yeah, thank you very much. I didn't
Very
know that, so I've learned today as well. Thank you.
That
You're
is a good one.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right, Naburi.
Thanks a lot, Doc. This is Ayub Naburi from Kenya. I want to appreciate you for the presentation and also to note the fact that we are using this in Kenya, but to a less extent. We've been using Excel, especially when it comes to valuation of, not to use it for valuation of all properties, especially the commercial ones, DCF and direct capitalization. But I think what you have here is a little bit more detailed. So I would be happy to interrogate it further and also maybe try and improve the same. Thank you very much, Doc.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. Karibu sana. Okay, Dr. Gambo.
Yeah, I can hear.
All right. A very good evening to you all, the presenter and the moderator and audience from Nigeria. To thank the presenter for this educative session, enlightening session. We thank you. I want to add here in Nigeria some of the terms you use. We have the rent person, at the term, at the reversion, have what we call the full rental value. And that is what you use as your
ERV.
And for the hardcore, what you have as the uplift review, we have it as incremental income. And I think I have followed. Everything is very clear. And would like to have the material, the PDF copy and the recording. Thank you, Dr. Dabara. And thank you all.
Hey, thank you very much. I have shared the material with the organizers, and they're going to share it with you. And I think they're recording this, so I'm sure they will be happy to also share the recordings. Thank you. And then invaluation is just a matter of semantics. If you get to the United States, you'll be amazed at what they do in their valuation. It's the same thing, but just a bit of different language, incremental, uplift, and things like that. But the basis is the same. Thank you very much for that observation.
That's right. That's right. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, Ankeli.
My name is, hello, doctor.
Okay, you can go ahead, then we'll take Ankeli. Go on, please.
Yeah, thank you. My name is ESV Augustina Chiuzie from Nigeria. I want to sincerely thank you for this wonderful presentation. I must say you have done a very good work. Keep it up. Thank you very much, sir.
No, thank you. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much. Okay, Dr. Ankeli.
Yes, I'm Ankeli Tony from Nigeria. I want to thank you for the wonderful lecture. You have done a great job. I appreciate you and I'm proud of you. I want to request for something from the organizer. I don't know how possible this will be, I think we'll be glad if this kind of section can be repeated, or maybe if we can be having this kind of section from time to time, so as to refresh our memory and also to learn new things. Thank you very much.
Hey, thank you very much. I'm really happy that you found the session useful. I just checked the chat now. I think they've shared the live Excel sheet, so you can download it from the chat. Thank you very much. Okay, over to the organizers.
Okay, especially.
Yes, thank you very much, Dr. Dabara. It was a very insightful section, and I want to apologize to everyone.
Sorry, before it's like someone is still raising hand. MJ Gambo, sorry, please. Sorry for missing that.
No, it's okay. I wanted to know how to get the material, but you've answered. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay,
All
so I
right,
want
thank
to
you.
apologize on behalf of Lafres for starting the meeting late. We had some logistic problems. So thank you everyone for finding out the time to attend this session. And thank you once again, Dr. Dabara. So I'm going to leave the floor now, and let's welcome Dr. Gavu, our Lafres chair, to say one or two things to us.
Okay, thanks so much, Priscilla, Vicky, and all the team members at the background who made sure that this session became a success. I want to assure all of us that the recording will be made available. If you are not already on the Flappers page, we would encourage you to be there. And also, we will keep this recording also on the website of AFRIS. So on the Flappers page, we'll provide a link to the recording there as well, and also on our social media pages. For those who might be wondering where to find it on our website, I'm just typing it there now, www.afres.org. I've just put it in the chat. We will put a link there for us to, go over. And thank you so much, Dr. Dabara. This has been a very insightful session, and I'm sure probably we'll do a repeat some other time. And thank you all for also joining. And we hope that next time when we call upon you to join another session, you will as well. The dates for next month session will be announced. We usually announce it on our various WhatsApp pages as well. So keep tuned and we will get back to you. Thank you so much. And God bless you one more time, Dr. Dabara.
Oh, thank you very much. And thank you for having me.
Yes. So thank you. I think this session can be brought to a close now. Yeah, officially. And then I think